what's up, nerds? It's Paul at Radio Free Hammer Hall. Today, we're going back to Hammer Hall. The new Cities of Sigmar book is out. We're going to make steam tanks great again. We're going to build that COGFORT. We're going to make ARCHAON pay for it. Yeah, let's talk about steam tanks. Because this is fun. Steam tanks are cool. And yeah, I'm having fun with the new Cities of Sigmar book. I mean, I haven't actually put it on the table yet. I've been having fun hobbying on stuff and, you know, toying around with things. So yeah, let's take a look at stuff. Back in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I apologize, by the way, for everything going on back here. I'm in like my office right now, and well, thankfully I'm on this like tiny little screen in the corner. But yeah, my office is just trashed. Like back there anyway, because my kids like to come in here and just like hang out and throw stuff around while I'm working, and then not clean it up. And then I don't like to clean it up, and then it's just like this. So yeah, and I can't really like zoom in on like this camera on me, and I don't know how to make the back blurry or anything. So anyway, this is what we got. So back in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, steam tanks, they were basically like this big brick that you stuck in front of your opponent, and they sat there and they sucked, and your opponent really could do very little about them. They just kind of took something out of the game. And sometimes they would kill an enemy unit, and other times they would just kind of take a thing out of the game. So let's just quickly run down like what their stats were. They had a 1-up save, which, you know, I'm on Team Vince here. Come on, GW, you are a bunch of fucking cowards. Give us our 1-up save back. Like 2-up is good. It's like the best save that you like print on a war scroll, but just make it 1-up. It had 10 wounds, which was actually like a lot for Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Like that was just a high stat in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It's not like 10 wounds now isn't nearly as much as it was like as it seems, but yeah, 10 wounds in Warhammer Fantasy Battles was a tremendous amount. It had toughness 6. So for those of you that are not familiar with Warhammer Fantasy Battles and how that whole combat system works, or are not also like 40K players or whatever, basically you're usually going to get wounded on a 6-up or a 5-up. You're unbreakable, which means you can't flee from combat. Like you get stuck in combat and you're there until you die, or until your opponent flees. And you had the terror rule, which forces leadership checks on your opponent. What does that mean? For, once again, people that never played Warhammer Fantasy Battles or just don't remember. Basically, you roll 2 dice against the leadership characteristic of the unit. Terror, this causes it like when you first charge into the unit, and then in every subsequent combat phase, you take a leadership check. If you fail, if you roll under the leadership characteristic of the unit, they run away. They turn around and flee. And if that happened like in the charge phase, you're potentially just going to get run down after by this steam tank and get totally wiped out. They're not just running away, they're going to get like totally lifted. So if you run a steam tank into a low leadership unit, they're going to get screwed. So in terms of other game rules that impact this, in Warhammer Fantasy, enemy units couldn't retreat out of combat. Once you were there, until something died or something ran away. Once you were in combat, you couldn't shoot and you couldn't be shot at. So that decreased your opponent's ability to get rid of you. And due to the way that combat worked, you were on a 50 millimeter wide base, 100 millimeters deep. So, unless you got hit in the flank, your opponent had very few attacks that they were actually going to be able to throw at you. There was no pile-in. So whatever they could get in, and that was it. So you had a very restricted number of attacks that your opponent could throw. They were probably wounding on a 5 or a 6, and then that would hit a 1-up save. You were probably never taking damage. And then if you did, you had 10 wounds. Good luck. So that's basically what the deal with the old steam tank was. You ran it into a thing, and it wouldn't die. Your opponent couldn't get rid of it, and so then it would just grind. You would try and run it into some enemy unit that that it would either be able to lift because it would be able to the terror checks would cause it to run away, or it would just be a high value unit that you would be able to kind of remove from the game and be able to effectively trade without things dying. So what do we have in our new steam tank? So I'm just looking at the steam tank commander just because we can throw enhancements on him more easily and have a few more options here. So we have a 2-up save and 12 wounds. 12 wounds comparatively is, I think, a little bit less than the 10 that we had in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, but 12 is still not bad. We can add enhancements, particularly the Grizzled Veteran command trait is really good so that you can only be wounded on a 4+. That's not as good as the 5 or 6 that the old toughness 6 would likely have been giving you, but man, that still sucks for a lot of people. Like most units that people are going to be running are going to be wounding on 2s or 3s most of the time. Like that's the kind of thing that you're going to want to bring into combat to do damage. So bringing everybody to 4s all the time is going to be brutal. You can throw on an Amulet of Destiny as well to have that 6-up ward all the time. In addition, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in the army that can help you out as well. Spell Faw's Protection can make your save unmodifiable. So your Ethereal Reign of Jade is a spell that can heal you. Pontifex Zenestra can give you a 5+ ward. The Warforger can improve your save as well as all-out defense and Arcane, not Arcane. What am I saying? Mystic Shield and there's various other things that are going to boost up your save. And the Free Guild Command Corps are also going to give you healing as well. And you're going to be a hero, so you can use Heroic Recovery when you're not in combat to heal there as well. So you've got a lot of options for the durability. That's like the big thing that the Steam Tank has always done is durability. It's not something that kills things. It is, despite the appearance of it, you would think that, this is going to be like an artillery piece. Like, no, it's never really been a cannon either. It's never really been a good artillery piece. It's just like this brick that gets up in there in combat. And I think, if we go now to the compare and contrast, we have a lot of similarities here to what this was in Warhammer Fantasy Battles without throwing a ton of investment in it. 1+ save versus a 2+ save, comparable wound level. I think, adjusted for what wound level is like in Age of Sigmar, I think it might be like comparatively less, even though it's 12 wounds versus 10. You would have to make it your general to only be wounded on 4s. Um, it can become ethereal, which is good. Um, there's a couple of things here that I think would be great if I could find something that would make it work, right? Like if we could find something that could make an enemy unit not be able to pile in or make an enemy unit not able to retreat. Those two things would be huge. But I haven't really found anything good and reliable that is at a reasonable price point to stick in here to do that. So I don't know. Maybe I missed something stupid, but I don't think we can really do that. Uh, compared to fantasy battles, we can heal and we can get a 5-up ward pretty easily. Um, enemies can retreat, but unless they can like retreat and charge or retreat and shoot, or your opponent like retreats and then doubles you, you can just charge back into combat again and pin them again. So really the steam tank is all about like pinning a valuable enemy unit in place. So yeah, I mean, I think the steam tank now, I think, is still really good. I think it's really useful. Is a steam tank commander going to be worth it at 270 points from a competitive perspective? I don't know. Like, I like steam tanks. I think 270 is perfectly reasonable to throw it in a list to do cool, fun things with it. I don't know how competitive of a choice it's going to be, but it's certainly the thing that you can throw together and have fun. And, I don't know, just do the old make steam tanks great again, I guess. But yeah, just kind of a quick one. I haven't done a video in a while, so I thought this would be kind of a fun, quick hit here. I think steam tanks now aren't they aren't quite the auto include that they used to be in Empire armies, and you have to throw some extra things into them. Like whether they be some enhancements or some other resources from your army, whether they be spells or what have you, to get the maximum benefit to try and like actually get them up to the kind of level that they used to be. But I still think they're good. And it's going to be fun. Anywho, I'm going to call it that for now, guys. I will talk to you all later. See ya.